All right, we're going to talk about how to build an effective arch for the bench press and a little bit of a bench press setup. So I see a lot of people use these things to work on their bench press arch, and they go some stuff like this. Sometimes they stretch on it. Sometimes they even bench on it. So knock that shit off. That's not how we have an effective arch on the bench press. Yes, you can get a bigger arch by developing that lumbar flexibility, but that's not what we want. What we want is three things. So we want scapular mobility. We want to be able to arch and flex the T-spine and also be able to extend at the T-spine and through the rib cage. So we're going to talk about how to do that. And there's some things that oftentimes people don't even realize have an effect on that. Come here, Jordan. So I was watching my lifters today and I went, let's find a good example of someone that probably doesn't know that there's something going on. Let's just see. Powerful finger, look at that. Yeah. Oh, that one's not as strong, I guess. He's braced and ready for it now. So, all right, thanks, Jordan. So he's definitely got a lot of tension in here on the intercostals. I've got some theories about what that comes from, because typically I see that tied into a few other things with bench or squatting and deadlifting. But I don't want to get into theory and things I don't know, so we're going to talk about what I do know. And I do know how to fix that. So what we're really looking for, and I'm going to try to demonstrate here, we're going to put those three into use. So set up, if I bench, there I am, arched at the lumbar. Now I'm going to try to retract my scapula. Arch, flare this rib cage, and I haven't done any flexibility work yet for this today. Here is a nice, solid, strong position. Very little stretch in the lumbar, which puts you in a much better position. Where are most of our injuries in powerlifting? Are they up in here, in the back? No, typically they're disc-related L4, L5 stuff. So we want to minimize that, but also load this area and build this structure effectively, centrate that joint properly. And so there's a couple things that we'll work through to do that. Greg, you want to move the camera to follow me? So there's lots of ways to open this up. I like to always start in a specific sequence because we're gonna start with the scapula, because we want the scapula opened up first, because if we're getting mobility at the T-spine, we're going to get that instead of the scapula. So I try to lock that down, and usually I do that. There's a lot of different ways. Like you can get on the Kelly Starrett's mobility wad and see a bunch of different stuff on there. But I like to combine a lot of that with cueing. So I'm gonna reach here, reach to my knee, and I'm reaching with the subscap, boom, and then I'm gonna reach back and reach elbow locked and reach far, and I'm trying to stretch over this roller here. And notice my hand. So my hand here is cueing this to stay locked in. So I want to have this nice and rigid. You can think about bracing and stuff there if you want. Do about 10 reps and try to stretch a little bit more and deeper with each one, but keep the T-spine locked in to begin with. Then you can start moving to things that are going to open that up. I can't remember the name of this one, and for some reason I always call it the Superman stretch, but it's the wrong name. So we're going to film something with the wrong name in it. But we're going to start opening that up next. So we're going to move to this position. Boom. And I'm going to get up in here, lock my elbows out, and I'm going to actually drive and push my belly forward. And now I'm going to retract my shoulder blades, so you'll see them come into position. Try to externally rotate, pull them back. Try to pull up harder. So we're going to open that up.
Now there's quite obviously some extension going on with the lumbar spine in that stretch. But what you really want to be focusing on is the extension on the lumbar spine and through the rib cage.
All right, so we started with the scapula, kind of opened up some of the T-spine there. I really like to do RNT squats as well, if you've got any more sort of mobility issues there. And you would do those before squatting as well, if you've got some shoulder mobility. You'll find a huge benefit from that. But next, we're going to hit those intercostals, because we want to flare this baby up. Get this nice, solid approach in here. So if we're tight and locked in here, you're going to be able to get some of this, but you're not going to be able to get that extension. So I'm not going to pick on Jordan because, well, I made him scream and swirl around a little bit, but I don't want to have him cry in front of the camera. So we're going to do, I prefer the rumble roller, but you can use anything with a hard edge. A lot of the foam rollers won't work too well, so you want something a little bit harder. But you're actually going to get one first start up under the rib cage. So you're going to lock this. That's why I like the hooks, so I can lock it up under the bottom of my rib cage. Work that out, and then spend a few minutes there. Then we're actually going to start working in between every intercostal. Okay, you're going to find those sore spots, work those out, and that'll allow you to get that extension. It's going to allow you to get in that better position. So we walk through that. That's a really good progression. There's a lot of different ways to it, but the important thing to remember is we're trying to get that mobility up here. One, it reduces our risk for injury, but it also makes a much stronger base. And just a note on that, typically I don't do any of this stuff, just so you know. I swing a mace. It does all those things at once. So anyway, more on that to come.
So that routine I showed you is very effective. As I noted, the mace swing is the primary thing for me. It does a tremendous benefit as far as my warm-up routine with getting the scapula opened up, subscap, and the lats firing properly, allowing me to centrate that shoulders and really just overall help with the general shoulder health and mobility. So that's the primary thing that I'm doing. Now, if I want to get into my setup position, I will still do the stretching where I'm opening up the psoas, extending the rib cage at the T-spine. So those aren't going to be part of the mace swing. Actually, you're trying to have rigidity while you're doing the mace swing in those areas. So that's how you would put those two pieces together. The people that I have doing the mace swing, I don't see having the issues with the tight intercostals. I believe, and I could be wrong on this, but usually I see that the issues with the intercostal is when someone actually has some destabilization in their core. And it looks to me, and again, this is just my theory or my talking out my ass here, but it looks like it's trying to tighten up and lock that area, help lock your spine down by that tightness there. So if you've got that issue, go ahead and work through it. Typically, it doesn't take that long to get those loosened up, but it's going to really allow you to get in better position. So again, that routine works great because I know everybody doesn't have maces, and enjoy.
Shh, Duffin's going to talk to the internet. The internet's listening. Is it going? Oh, great.
Now that you've found this YouTube channel with exceptional content in regards to instructional videos and completely transparent training methods, subscribe and refer your friends and check out my website, kabukiwarrior.com.